Hello, welcome to the Trews. I'm Russell Brand, host of the Trews. Subscribe here to receive more Trews every day, and God knows you need it because politics has fallen apart. A new poll by YouGov says that me and Jeremy Clarkson are a negative influence on politics. What is YouGov? YouGov pay people to do surveys. It says on their advert, YouGov, get paid to do quick surveys. All right, I'll accept money. Will it take long? Oh, no. This is an off-the-cuff thing you can do. You don't have to think about it. But some information might be important and interesting statistically to you is that 41% of the UK public said they would vote. That's down 7% last year, 10% down from the year before that when it was 58%. So, really, what is happening in politics? Why is it that the political class and the political debate seems to be causing so much tension, friction and confusion? What's going on? Let's have a look at UK politics. Let's have a look at the official leader of the opposition, Ed Miliband, midway through a rebranding exercise on, I think, a BBC interview. Let's check it.
Why are you doing so spectacularly badly?
We're in a country where people, I don't think, are feeling that the recovery is working for them, that the country's working for them, but they're deeply sceptical about mainstream politics and whether it can solve the problems. But my job and what I'm going to do is go out and fight for what I believe in. As I did today at Harlow, as I'm going to do over the next 6 months. Because look, I passionately believe we can change Britain. I passionately believe in changing Britain.
I like Ed Miliband. I think he seems like he might be nice. But when people sort of really exhibit the signs of coaching, people like passion. My argument has been, or my personal feeling, it's not an argument, I've not built an argument, I'm just a man with a mouth and some feelings, is that you lot don't seem like you're nothing to do with us, right? And it seems to resonate with a lot of people. It says here 23% of our population here in our country says that they're satisfied with the way that MPs are doing their jobs, and only 18% of people trust politicians. So why have we got this feeling that we're in a mandatory and static political situation? Oh, well, only 18% of people trust politicians. If only there was something that could be done. But we signed that deal with God, didn't we? That we can never ever change anything. So we'll just have to put up with it quietly.
I passionately believe in changing Britain. It's why I stood for the leadership. We've got to be a country that works for ordinary people again, and that's what I'm going to go out and fight for.
Fight, passion, ordinary. Ed Miliband's in trouble, because he doesn't have the skill set I think required in contemporary politics, because politics was tainted by Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, Tony Blair, people that were wicked on camera, people that have got a little bit of chat. But what was the thing that I was watching the other day? Oh yeah, Barack Obama, he pledged to pull back surveillance, to have a more transparency in the way that American people's data was handled. And I'll tell you what, if you watch that Edward Snowden film, Citizen 4, you'll see that it is terrifying the way we're being spied on by our government in this country and in America, and that this lack of trust that we feel for politicians, it's entirely valid. Don't trust them. They're literally spying on us. They're literally in league with telecommunication companies, stealing data on us so that at any point in the future they can go, you sent a text the other day about boobies. You're in a lot of trouble.
Now, the ratings now of the Labour Party are the same as Gordon Brown when he got kicked out in 2010.
We're going to fight for what we believe in. We're going to focus on the needs of the country. We're not going to look inwards as a party because, frankly, that will be unforgivable. It will be unforgivable to the people that we came into politics to represent, that we stand for, and that I'm determined to fight for.
I'd like to know who the companies are that do the research for them and go, right, people like it when you talk about fighting, passion, and they like emotional language, like unforgivable. Do you remember in the Scottish referendum when David Cameron's going, this is like a painful, bloody divorce?
I would be heartbroken.
The other morning, my dick fell off. People use weird, emotional, personal language to talk about politics. And poor Ed Miliband, like Gordon Brown before him, men that are sort of administrators, economists, thinkers, well, I don't know, bureaucrats for want of a better word, are they're doing sort of political karaoke. You don't have to take your clothes off to have a bloody good time, I know that much. They're all reduced to dads at weddings because they're forced to live in this media age. And also, do you know what? They don't know how to talk to us about things like, do you feel a bit lonely? Do you feel a bit desperate? Do you feel like none of the political parties really understand because a lot of them went to public schools, a lot of them, and it seems that there's this sense of disengagement and the political system itself is this old heaving, lumbering wreck. Well, we feel that too. to, and we're going to try our best. They don't know how to talk in that way. It's not how they've been trained. Like I've told you ages and ages ago, just have Ed Miliband do a job where I bet there's loads of things he's really good at. Get him to do them.
In the latest poll, 73% of people say they can't see you as Prime Minister. Did you ever look at yourself and think, maybe I am part of the problem?
No. Because I've got people to convince, of course I do, and that's what I'm going to do.
You never thought of quitting?
Absolutely not.
You never thought, what is it about me that isn't working?
Absolutely not, because I'll tell you why. We're in a position where we can win the next election. If we do the right things, if we fight for our programme, we can win that election.
And then what's going to happen, Ed? Right, we've won the election. Good. We've proven that a man with minimal media skills can win an election against another unconvincing government that have proved that they are nasty and indifferent to the population of the country. Now what are we going to do? Basically what they did.
We've got a duty to do it, we've got a responsibility to do it, and we can do it. I know we can do it.
What thing about you and your performance would you change?
You've got to blame the media as well for framing it in that way. Why are the BBC not asking him relevant questions? This is the British Broadcasting Corporation. People don't like you, Sonny Jim. You hold your mouth in an odd way, like you've just eaten a sour jelly tot. Why?
I think the most important thing that I need to do more of is go out and fight for what I believe in.
I've got to fight for passion. I've got to fight for my right to party.
Look, less time at Westminster, more time out in the country. More time taking my case to the British people.
Labour recently proposed to give away lottery tickets as an inducement to voters. Would you like a lottery ticket? Oh, I suppose I wouldn't mind one, but I'm poor as a church mouse. Yeah. There's a scratch card. Instead of scratching those blemishes up and down your hideous peasant body, why don't you just scratch away this little bit of foil and vote for Labour?
Taking the case I passionately believe in to the British people. That's what I'm going to do.
I've recently been told to say the word passionately a lot, and I'm going to say the word passionately a lot while talking about stuff that doesn't really mean anything.
There are people who think you're in denial. They'll say you've been saying this for 4 years. If only people hear me more, people will want Ed Miliband as Prime Minister. But at the moment, they're not. Well, your ratings are lower than Nick Clegg's.
Well,
you're worse than Nick Clegg. Have you got any idea how unpopular? I held a puppet up in front of my child yesterday, next to a photograph of you, and my child was sick on the photograph of you, and it kissed the puppet. How does that make you feel?
The taxi driver who brought me here said, if Ed Miliband rescued a man from a burning building, you lot would tell him off for not putting out the fire.
I spoke to a taxi driver this morning. That's the closest I get to real life. And he said something that makes me sound pithy and normal. Would you care to laugh now?
I'm not in the whinging business. Look, this job is a tough job, but it should be a tough job. It's an audition to be the Prime Minister of the country.
It's not an audition. No, you've misunderstood. Tonight, Simon, Louis, one out of Spice Girls, I'm going to be trying to act a bit more like a Prime Minister. Passion, turn to the left. Passion, turn to the right. Ooh.
You look in the mirror in the morning, you see a Prime Minister?
Absolutely. I see someone who will fight for people, who wake up every morning and think, how do we change this country?
Here's a point worth making in an article from Martin Wilding, who's given us these statistics. He's on HuffPost. He says, democracy means government by the many. Britain is governed by the few. That's oligarchy. There's no need in the modern age to put a man on a horse and send him to London to sit in Parliament. Technology makes it simple for ordinary people to participate in government where they live. So, we could have more forms of direct democracy. There are alternative systems available, but look how much resistance there are to sort of modest reforms like proportional representation. People like keeping things this way. Whether it's Labour or whether it's Conservatives, they have more in common with each other than they have with any of us. They have to be taught to sound like normal people. They have to go and have a lesson to go and sound normal. Passion, fighting, auditioning on X Factor for Prime Minister of Britain. So that's why politics is being attacked. That's why nobody's interested in voting. As long as journalists and political figures have to practice and drag up taxi anecdotes to pretend to be normal. I've got a taxi driver. I use the word passion. Then we are going to be disengaged. We are going to be disillusioned, just particularly when we know that alternatives are possible, when there are fathomless, countless different ideas, different ways for systems to be run. And I'll tell you what, it's a very open political debate. When, for example, I've got involved in the political debate recently, and I have never felt more welcomed and loved. Like my opinions greeted with open arms. People being broad-minded and open about my books, not attacking superficial things, not excluding information that's inconvenient to them and ignoring all of the ideas in there and attacking me on a personal level. Get involved in the political debate. You'll find it's a very open forum where everyone's welcome and they definitely haven't got something to hide. True news, true news. Subscribe here, subscribe here.
Nose is a tool that is abused to fool you and to leave you scared and confused. Trews is like the news. If the news was true, I want some trews. Let's have some trews.